listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. That was Brett Smiley. The late Brett Smiley died last year. Same time, it was about a year ago in January. That was a track called Space Ace. And my guest is Massimino.
Massimino. Mass is what
Mass.
they call me, man.
I think
makes it easier.
I think they should call you Massa, as like in NASA.
That's clever. We're not that clever at NASA.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can have it.
Thank you.
It's yours.
Thank you. See what we could do with that one. Thanks, Jones.
So, is there no sound in space? Is that true?
When you're outside, yes. So sound to travel needs some sort of medium. So we can talk to each other over air. So when you're inside the space shuttle or inside the spacecraft, space station, you have an atmosphere, right? Breathable atmosphere. And you can talk to each other just like we do on Earth.
Yeah.
When you get out and you're spacewalking now, you have atmosphere within your own little spacesuit.
Yeah.
But if you're like making noise outside,
like you're banging a tin
banging
can.
a hammer, say you take a hammer, you start banging on the side of the spaceship, you're not going to hear any of that. And the only sounds you hear your own breathing, you hear your own voice. It sounds differently though when you're spacewalking because the pressure inside of your spacesuit, the pressure in space is zero, as we can't live there.
Right.
So we need a spacesuit to give us air and cooling and protection, but to also give us pressure. And the pressure we have right now is 1 atmosphere at sea levels, 14.7 psi. We have a fraction of that, 4.3 psi. Simple math, okay?
You lost me, but yeah,
it's a lower pressure. It's like being on a super high mountain. You get lower pressure.
Right.
So you're at being at very high altitude. At that low pressure, your voice sounds differently. You can't whistle. Can you imagine? You
I'd
cannot
be
whistle.
There.
Yeah, because you can't whistle. Your voice sounds much deeper, like you're gonna cut a blues album.
Yeah.
You know, for me. So you sound much deeper when you're doing that. So things change because the molecules are in your space. They're at a lower pressure, and they behave differently. You can't. So in other words, there's not enough of them at that low pressure for them to vibrate, so you could actually make a whistling sound. Yeah. Anyway, you can bang all you want, and you won't hear any of that. The only sounds you're going to get from outside is through your headset. You know, we're wearing a headset similar like we're wearing now. You have a microphone. 2 little microphones in front of your mouth so you can communicate, and that's over radio frequency, just like we're communicating with your listeners right now. They're able to hear us because we're broadcasting over radio frequency, and that's what we do when we're spacewalking. That's what we do in the space shuttle to communicate to the ground.
So if like a spaceship went by you and you was outside, you wouldn't
hear a thing.
Wow.
Nope. Garbage truck, fire, police, nobody.
That sounds like heaven to me.
Yeah. Yes, you would not hear a thing out there.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
But if you got one little hole in your spacesuit,
that's a problem.
You'd be just
history. No, and I had on my last spacewalk at the very end, we do these inspections, especially around your gloves because you're working with your hands so much, you could potentially wear a hole in them, and that's what happened. But the spacesuit is made in layers, so it's an interesting dilemma when you're designing a spacesuit because you want protection, but you got to work in this thing. So if you make it a suit of armor, you're not going to get anything done.
Yeah.
So it's layered. It has soft layers, including a layer of Kevlar, and then in the bottom, at the most inner layer, is the bladder. It's like a rubbery bladder. And that's what pressurizes. So if you got a hole all the way through the layers of the spacesuit down into the bladder, you would have a problem. When I inspected my glove toward the end of my last spacewalk, the 4th one that I did, I noticed there was a bit of a tear in my glove, but it hadn't gone all the way through, so we were okay. But if you did get a hole all the way through and you started to leak,
what would
you would feed that leak. Okay, your life support system, your oxygen tank would feed that leak. So you would be okay for a little bit, and then we have a second oxygen tank in there, a secondary oxygen package that would additionally feed the leak at a slightly lower pressure. So if you got a leak, not too big of a leak, a small leak, you have about 30 minutes to get inside, and that's the way that suit is designed. So,
or you won't be able to breathe?
You have to keep breathe. You breathe normally, just like you normally would. You don't have to have any sort of regulator in your mouth like when you're scuba diving.
Yeah.
The oxygen is around you. You breathe in, you exhale. Fresh oxygen comes in over your head. So you suck in the oxygen because you have to. What you breathe out, There's got to be ventilation.
Right.
What you breathe out, more or less, the air gets filtered. So the carbon dioxide and any contaminants, you're going to produce carbon dioxide when we exhale. It's not good. So you want to get rid of that. So that stuff gets sucked in through these vents in your spacesuit, goes through a filter, and then fresh 100% oxygen comes in over your head. And that does a couple things. One is that it kind of washes your visor out so you don't fog over, and it gives you nice fresh oxygen in your face, and you just breathe normally.
But if you got a hole, like a good sized hole,
you would get.
Are you history real soon?
No. You have like the 30 minutes, pretty much 30 minutes to get inside, and then
because you've got air.
You got bucket, right? They're going to keep feeding that leak. So what happens is that you're going to start using your oxygen at a high level, right?
So that movie
is going to get pissed out. Yeah.
The movie.
Which one?
The one with what's his name?
Matt Damon?
No.
The Martian?
No.
George Clooney?
Clooney, that one. Is that kind of accurate?
Well, there
you
was
must
some.
Have seen it.
I love that movie. There's some accuracies. Number one is I think George Clooney was a very cool astronaut. So I'd like to believe that was the way. That's the way all astronauts are. But certainly you can get hit by debris. It's possible. I mean, if you got hit with a large hole, then you'd be history. If it was a small hole, which is more likely, but still unlikely overall, you probably have some time to get back inside. But if you got hit as bad as those guys did, it'd be all over.
All over. Yeah. So that whole scene at the end where she's trying to come down and lands on a little pond is completely fictional.
Well, the major piece of fiction on that was they were able to go from place to place so easily.
Right.
And they started out at the Hubble.
Yeah.
And then they go to the space station. And what's impossible about that, you can raise your altitude, Jonesy, right? So if once you get into an inclination of an orbit. Each orbit around our planet has an inclination, and that inclination is measured off of the equator. So a zero inclination is you're just spinning around the equator, right? And then you have a slightly higher inclination where Hubble was, like at 27 degrees, and then at like 51 degrees is where the space station is.
Yeah.
So these inclinations are impossible, or near impossible to change.
Yeah.
You can go higher, and you can come lower. That's how we land. That's how we come back. We lower the altitude. You can go up and down with the altitude.
Yeah.
But to change that inclination, if you understand,
side
the side to side is impossible.
Yeah.
You got it just takes too much energy. So the idea that you can go from place to place like that, that's impossible.
Bopping around wherever you want.
Taking like a fire extinguisher and now I'm going to get in this spaceship and I'm going to go over here and the Chinese are over there and. Yeah, no.
I could probably do it because I have big farts. I could kind of fart.
You would need a lot of gas. You would need a lot more, I think, even than any of us all together could muster.
Plus, it wouldn't be able to come out, be in your suit.
Yeah, that's you got to be careful doing that. You're the one that's going to smell it.
Because if you're going to open that back and fart, you're going to, you're going to die.
No, that'll work. That could work inside the spaceship.
At least you wouldn't hear it.
What's that?
At least you wouldn't hear it.
You wouldn't hear it, but but since it's inside your spacesuit, you'd have to live with it. Yeah.
What you got, Shovel?
Speaking of which, it's time to qualify another $1,000. Somebody can call in right now, 800-955-KLOS. We're going to take caller 25. They'll be in the running for $1,000 later today and get a pair of tickets for 6 a.m. at the KLOS warehouse.
Thank you. So should we keep talking or play a song and come back? I can't get enough. I can't ask him enough questions. Well, let's play a song. Yeah?
Okay.
What do you want to do? You don't
I'm
mind
happy
me just
to do whatever you
bombard?
want to do. I'm just happy to be here.
Okay.
Whatever works for the show, man.
Well, I'm just seeing that you got to leave. Wherever I just want to get more questions out because I'm fascinated by space.
So my pleasure.
What was the one I was going to say? Did you ever see any weird alien life forms or whatever up there?
Yeah, no, I didn't see any aliens. I did see some things that were interesting. I saw, like, you see shooting stars coming into the planet. Have you ever seen a shooting star, Jonesy, out in the middle of nowhere?
Of course, of course.
So in space, you see them below you. So they're coming in below you into the planet. Thunderstorms at night are really interesting.
In the planet?
On the planet, right. You see, these you can't really see anything at night. At nighttime, you can see city lights. You can see certain things. It's very magical at night. I like flying. It's flying over. So you're going around
which change quickly.
It changes quickly. So you're going 17,500 miles an hour around the planet. It takes approximately 90 minutes to do one orbit.
Day and night. Day and night.
Day and night's about half. So you get 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets in a 24-hour period.
Wow.
And as you're going from day, you go this change from day to night. When you're at nighttime, you can't. The sun's not shining on the planet, but what you can see is city lights and other things that will shine. And you can see that, and you can see when you're over clouds. If there's a thunderstorm going on, you can see the lightning is magnificent. It lights up the clouds. You can see the veins in the clouds, and you just don't see one. You see these flashes below you, and it's like they're communicating one after the other.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful. So you see like really cool things, but no aliens. You know, I don't. Do you think we've been visited? Do you think aliens have been hanging around?
I do.
You do?
From thousands of years ago, though.
See, I think for anyone who's ever been, if they've been abducted or they see one of these guys, one of these aliens, I think we need some evidence. We need some good evidence.
That would be good, especially in this day and age where everyone's got a camera.
Right, we need evidence.
Still don't see anything.
Right, we need to see. We need to get. Ask them for a souvenir.
But the thing what makes me think that there has been aliens when you look at all these old Aztecs and old Indians, all the things they put on their walls, unless that's some guy who did it last week.
Yeah, a long time ago.
But a long time ago, I believe there were aliens. Yeah, I think there still are. I think some of it's underwater. They live underwater.
Well, I think I think that eventually we will find. I don't believe we've been visited. We haven't found anything yet. But I think eventually, we will make contact with someone else in the universe.
Well, you think it's possible there is no one else in this galaxy?
I think it's possible. No, I do think it's possible. There's other life in this galaxy. Yes, I do. I don't think we've been visited yet. I think it's hard to get around.
How do you think the pyramids were built?
I have the foggiest idea. I think they got some big guys, and they moved these big rocks around. That's what I think happened.
Some big guys.
Yeah, get some big people, and they were slaves, and unfortunately, and that's the way they did it. I think that these things can be explained. I think that who knows? We really don't know the truth.
Crop dusting.
I don't know. I don't know. I think
I agree with you.
Some real proof.
I know.
You need to see the guy. You need to see we need some piece of evidence that is for an extraordinary claim. You need extraordinary evidence. I'm looking forward to the day where we make contact, but I just don't think it's happened yet.
And also, the concept of God. I'd like to see it too.
I think we might be getting there at some point.
It's the same concept, right?
Yeah, I think it's I think what we've done. I don't necessarily think that science and religion doesn't go together. I think you open to your own interpretation of all that stuff, right? But I think certainly what science and what the Hubble can do is answer questions. The discovery of how many galaxies do we have? Is there life on other planets? What are the candidates? We just found that there's water on one of the moons of Jupiter called Europa, and that was a discovery made by Hubble on an instrument that we fixed on my mission. I'm really happy about that there's evidence of water on this moon of Jupiter in our solar system.
Wow.
So that is our building block of life. So we're kind of constrained to look at it what we know. We're looking for water. We're looking for what we could recognize as a possibility of sign of life. I certainly think that so even in our own solar system, although it's unlikely, there's possibilities. I think that for what we consider intelligent life or some kind of being that walks around like you see in the Star Wars movies,
right?
I don't think there's any of that going on anywhere close.
Right.
But there are possibilities other places outside of our solar system. Certainly, I think that there probably is something else out there, and I think this whole idea of trying to answer these big questions, as science discovers things, a lot of stuff was superstition, or years ago we didn't know what many thousands of years ago they didn't know why earthquakes existed, so they made up some story of why that happened, and now we know why they exist, and we're learning more and more about our planet, and we explain things, but the big questions. How did we get here? What is our place in the universe? Where do we go afterwards, and so on? Those we're still trying to answer, and I think that those are the questions. Our place in the universe. How big is the universe? How did it start? I think we can't just study the Earth to get those answers.
Yeah.
I think we have to look outward. I don't think the answers are here on this planet. I think there are other places.
I think we need to get the technology of rockets needs to be
I agree with you. We can't get around. It takes too long.
It's like medieval, almost like.
It's we have not had a big advancement. If you look at the way in the science fiction movies, traveling around at light speed and all that. I think eventually we'll get there, but we've been stuck traveling at this. I mean, it's 17,500 miles an hour is fast.
Sure.
If you're in a, even an airplane, car, even a rocket ship.
Yeah.
But it's not fast enough to get you the distances we need to travel.
In a lifetime.
You're right. You just can't do it. It's going to take you 6 months to get to Mars when Mars is closest. Mars is in another orbit around so it could be close to us, and sometimes it's further away from us. Even when it's at its closest, you're looking at 6 months to get there. That's not necessarily an easy. That's a pretty long trip just to get somewhere, and then you're going to stay. People travel here from Australia. When they travel to the States, they hang around for a long time because they spend a few hours on an airplane. Imagine 6 months to get you to someplace. You're going to want to hang around. So never mind trying to. And that's a relatively close place. Trying to get out there where, getting out to the end of the solar system or beyond, we need a much better way to travel. We don't have anything close to that yet.
What about the electromagnetic pulse drive? That is that even possible?
Yeah, I think something like that. There's lots of new ideas. Not really new ideas, actually. When I was a grad student, how long ago was that? A long time ago, 25 years ago. They were talking about these things, and we still haven't gotten them. Yeah, there's electronic space propulsion, plasma engines, nuclear space propulsion, all these ideas. And now some of these entrepreneurs are looking at it too, using lasers to propel small spacecraft, little spacecraft that can see what's out there. There are lots of great ideas that I think are going to come about. I don't know if we're going to see those in our lifetimes. I sure hope so.
Yeah.
But certainly we need a better way to get around the universe.
Man, I like talking about this stuff.
It's
Sorry
fun,
to bore you. You're probably bored talking about it.
Not
but
at
for
all.
me, it's fascinating.
Never bored about it.
Let's
My
play a
favorite
song
topic.
so I can think of some more questions. What we got here?
Let's remind our audience who our guest is.
Do you tell them, Gabble?
Mike Massimino, former NASA astronaut. And
You have a book out called Spaceman.
Book just came out 2 weeks ago. Yep.
Is there pictures in it?
There's pictures in it. Yep. You can tell the story by just looking at the pictures.
That's the
From
kind of
start
book
to
I
finish.
like.
I agree. We got some nice color pictures in there that tell the story if you just want to look at the pictures. Yep.
Mike Massa in the house.
There you go.
Let's play some music. What we got?
Life on Mars.
Take it away.
It's a god-awful small affair to the girl with the